How many of you watched Sesame Street when you were growing up? I did. At the end of every show, they would say, this episode has been brought to you by the letter H, or whatever. Why am I talking about Sunday school? Why am I talking about Sesame Street? Because the teaching skill that I'm about to tell you is one that they did really well. Sesame Street understood this concept and they used it in every single episode. And it's this: teach one thing. It sounds so simple, but honestly, it can transform your teaching. On Sesame Street, they reveal the theme at the beginning of the episode, and then they repeat it over and over and over in a variety of different ways. Live action and drawing and cartoons and songs, and over and over and over again, they repeat that theme. So by the end, the kids watching the episode, they knew what that theme was. They could tell you what it was. They taught one thing. The goal of the teacher is that students learn. You want your students to learn and apply Bible truth, and one of the best ways I know of reaching that goal is to focus your teaching to one biblical theme. When preparing your Sunday school lesson, it can be tempting to cram in as much information as you can. Maybe you're like me and you want the kids to know everything. I want to teach them everything. But if you do, they're going to leave your class discouraged and overwhelmed because there was too much coming at them. But if you focus in on one central truth, the kids can learn that and go away feeling encouraged, knowing something new. Howard Hendricks wrote a book called Teaching to Change Lives, and he said, it is best not to teach at one time more than can be absorbed and used. So how do you stay away from teaching more than can be absorbed and used? You teach one thing. You have a clear focus in your lesson. So why should you teach one thing? Oh, sorry. First of all, what is it? It's simple. When you're planning and you're teaching, plan and teach one central truth. Plan and teach one central truth. Now you might be thinking, one thing? But there's so much I want the kids to know. I can't just teach one thing. Elmer Towns wrote a book called What Every Sunday School Teacher Should Know. And he had lots of great things in there actually to say about teaching one thing. And he said this: when learners comprehend the one basic principle, they can often figure out the rest on their own. So, give your students, what am I trying to say? Remember that they can learn, okay? They can figure stuff out. So don't dumb it down too much for them or assume that they can't learn, okay? When you focus on one central truth, quite often they're going to pick up on a lot of other things on their own. So you might not feel that you're teaching it, but your students are getting it. So don't worry that you're not teaching enough. Teach one thing. And so why should you teach one thing? Well, it provides focus. One central truth allows you to teach a succinct, focused lesson. When you teach one thing, you stay on track. You weed out information that doesn't pertain to your one thing, and it keeps your lesson from becoming too long. When you are focused, you know what to use and what to discard in a lesson. Quite often a lesson will have lots of illustrations or more than one activity choice or lots of things. When you know your one thing that you're going to teach, you can start crossing stuff off. Nope, don't need to use that, don't need to use that. You've got a succinct lesson and it keeps it from becoming too long. Teaching one thing helps you choose your hook. It helps you choose your illustrations. It helps you choose which Bible verses to focus on. It helps you with the direction to take application time. And finally, it helps you choose activities, games, and crafts. When you know your focus, when you know your one thing, it helps in every area of your lesson. So how do you decide what to teach? First of all, when you're preparing, you need to answer this question. What's the point? What's the point of this Bible passage? What's the point of this verse? The Bible is rich in truth, and usually the lessons in our curriculum are rich in content. We can't teach everything, we don't want to overwhelm the kids, but we can engage and keep their interest when we teach one thing. So here's how you decide. Pray. Ask God to show you the one thing He wants you to focus on. Prayer should be a huge part of lesson prep. Once you've wrestled through the truth you want to teach, you're ready to teach it. So ask God to change you, ask God to show you that truth, and make you ready to teach it. Then read through the lesson. Read through everything provided. Read all the Bible passages listed. Read the lesson, read the application, read all the additional information, because you're never quite sure where you're going to find that one truth that you want to teach, so read all of it. Then look at the themes provided. Curriculum will quite often give a Bible point or a couple of themes. Take a look at that, because that could be what you choose. Very likely it is going to be what you choose, but it might not. So take a look there. Then consider the needs of your students. You know your class. You know what's going on in their lives right now. Use that to choose a theme to focus on, because you want what you teach to be practical. And then decide. So you've prayed about it, you've thought about your students. Decide what it is that you're going to teach. And different teachers might choose different themes, and you might even actually choose something different the next time you teach the same lesson, and that's okay, because there is so much in the Bible to teach. So make your choice, choose a theme that is focused on what the Bible actually says from what you're teaching, and write it out in one sentence. If you can't write it in one succinct sentence, you don't have it down yet. It needs to be one clear sentence, okay? And then John Sizemore gave 8 great questions to help you evaluate your central teaching theme, and I've included them in your notes. So if this is new for you, these questions really help you evaluate to make sure that you're staying true to the Bible with your theme and true to what is practical for your kids to learn. So use those questions to help you evaluate. Once you've chosen that one key theme, once you know what it is, go back through your lesson. This is the time to be ruthless. Get rid of everything that doesn't have to do with your main theme. If there's an illustration that you like, but it's not on your main theme, don't do it. Okay, so get rid of anything that's not about your main theme. And then insert your main theme throughout the lesson. Okay? If you don't say it and repeat it, the kids aren't going to learn it. So put it in there. And if it's not in there enough in the printed lesson, slip it in there. And slip it in there when you're doing games and when you're doing the memory verse. You've got to put it in and repeat it. For older kids, find different ways of saying it and show them where that truth is found in the Bible. And then finally, focus your application. Once you know your one key theme, then you're ready to choose a direction for application time. So if you are also the application teacher, focus on that one theme to start with for application time. Okay? So remember, teach one thing. When you focus your lesson on one central theme, your kids will be able to follow you, they will remain focused, and they'll walk away having learned that one thing really well. As you look at your morning and evaluate based on your one central truth. When your students walk away, they should walk away with that one central truth.